Vasco da Gama's ship arrived in Mossel Bay on November 25, 1497. And one of the first things they saw were African penguins. These were also the first penguins described by European explorers, and they documented it as follows. They are birds as big as ducks, but they cannot fly and bray like donkeys. More than 5¼ centuries passed since da Gama's encounter with African penguins, and they have since become critically endangered. In this episode, we'd be taking one of the most scenic routes in the world to Stoney Point, home to more than 1,600 breeding pairs of African penguins. Come along to experience the exquisite beauty of the Western Cape as we make our way to see some critically endangered penguins in their natural habitat. This is 2nd January to 2025. And we're in Gordon's Bay now, on our way to Clarence Drive, which will take us to a place called Stony Point in Betty's Bay, where we want to see some of these critically endangered African penguins and probably some other birds as well. So it's pretty quiet today, not a lot of traffic. And they've repaired this road very nicely in quite a short amount of time. It's completely destroyed by storms, but as you can see, it's open and they've done a very good job repairing it. Just look at those beautiful mountains. And it's about 22 minutes to 10 in the morning. We're hoping to get at Stoney Point just after 10. There's some cyclists here enjoying the day. Very safe to cycle. I've done it many times from Strand to Rooi and back. If you're ever in the area and you have a bicycle, come and cycle here. So we're getting closer to Betty's Bay now. You can see the mountain looks much bigger now, and then you can see some of the sea as well. It's really an amazing route to drive on, and now you can see the sea clearly. And often you'd see surfers down there as well. So if you're a surfer, this is one of the most popular spots to come for surfing. Or if you just want a nice long beach walk, there's a place called Cool Bay, also known as Cool Bay. It's one of the most popular beaches for swimming or a beach walk, and there's even a cave there that you can visit. So nice and warm day here in the new year. We expect it to be about 30 maximum today. Just look at that mountain range. There's a lot of hiking trails here as well. Coming up for Unclip, you can see there on the right that big rock there. Well, not really a rock, but it's part of the mountain. It looks like a big rock, so they call it Unclip. In Afrikaans, if you translate it, that means like hanging rock. So it's about another 15 kilometers to Betty's Bay, and we're going at a nice steady speed, so we should be there within about a quarter of an hour. It's really a privilege to drive here, especially after this road was closed until just about a month ago. They had stop and go still, but they reopened it fully a few weeks ago. So if you're in the area and you want to know if Clarence Drive is open, as you can see, it's completely open, and it's just a joy to drive here. We're getting closer to Unclip now. We just passed the Spikkop as well, so they make sure that the roads are safe. If you stick to the rules, they are your friends. If you break the rules, well, that's when you don't like them. So we're going to pass through a little town called Rooi. This is my end point when I used to cycle. And I would get a drink here and then cycle back to Strand back in the days, back in the 90s. There was one time I went all the way to Betty's Bay, but it's when you're on a bicycle, that extra distance makes a difference, especially if you're on perma tubes like I had. The advantage of that is you don't get a flat tire, but it's much harder to cycle with perma tubes. Welcome to Rooi. Very close to Unclip here. So what do you think about Clarence Drive? Do you think it's safe? What do you think about the scenery? We are now driving in an area called the Oeverbad, which is a wonderful place for bird photography and wildlife, like small deers and flowers and lizards. But as you can see, the road here is kind of white. So I'm not sure why. Obviously they repaired it recently, but I'm not sure why it's white. If you know, maybe you can let us know in the comments. And what do you think about this road compared to driving in Hong Kong?
I think it's like a pretty quiet road, though it is a main road. Nobody would be cutting the lines, trying to jump the queue, hooting at you, so it's quite a stress-free experience.
Yeah, and how do you like the scenery? It's your first time. Yeah, I've been here many times, but obviously you've never been here before.
The scenery is breathtaking, and I think it's a good place for photography, whether it's a landscape or wildlife. The sky is blue, and I think probably because the time we come here is summer, so it's always sunny and a good time for going for outing.
Yeah, of course, in the Western Cape, it rains in the winter, so if you want sunny weather, the summer is a great time to come. And we're getting pretty close now to Stony Point, where we will probably see a lot of those African penguins. All right, we arrived at our first point of interest, Stoney Point, where we're going to see some penguins. You can see it looks like a pretty remote area here. So if you like peace and quiet, maybe this is a place to buy a house. And of course you'll be very close to the African penguins. And here you can see the sign for the penguins. So that's where we're heading. You can already see some birds here as well. People cycling with helmets on. So here we are at Betty's Bay. What a nice place to come and stop. I've been here a couple of times on my bicycle as well, back in the 90s. And it hasn't changed much in that respect. It's still very nice and peaceful. If you want to enjoy nature, peace and quiet, it's a wonderful place to come. And if you sit there on the rocks, sometimes you can see very interesting lizards and other types of creatures, sometimes little fish, beautiful fish with various colors. But as you can see, there's hardly anybody here. In fact, where we're standing now, there's absolutely nobody. So if you want peace and quiet, then Betty's Bay is a great place to come. It's not as well known as Boulders Beach, but you can still see penguins here. But you're going to save a lot of money if you come here. The entrance fee is only a fraction of what they charge at Boulders Beach. And of course, you don't have to face the crowds when you come here. Now over there you can see what looks like a dead sea lion I suspect it may have died of rabies because it's been a recent outbreak of rabies in the Western Cape among sea lions and seals. And there's a lone penguin as well, one of the rocks. But yeah, it's rather sad about that sea lion that died probably before it reached adulthood. But of course, life goes on. And as you can see, it's a bit cloudy today, not too bad. And there we are for the penguins. You can see there's still a lot of penguins here at Stoney Point. And we were able to get very close to them. Here you can see close-up shots of some of them. That one doesn't like it. The guy shook his head. But if you're interested in these African penguins, then I would definitely say Stoney Point is a better place to come than Boulders Beach. You don't need to queue up, and it's much easier to access the beach as well. And you can get much closer to them over here compared to Boulders Beach. Not sure how long we'll be able to see these penguins. Estimates are that they may be extinct within 10 years. Southern rock agamas is a common type of lizard you'd find in South Africa. It's also known as a blowkop kogelmander in Afrikaans. And the head movements you can see here is used to intimidate intruders. The hard-lobed gulls you can see here are the 10th rarest gull species in the world, and they can only be found on the coast of Namibia and South Africa. African black oyster catchers can only be found on the southern coast of Africa. They mainly feed on mussels and have a lifespan of up to 35 years. We've come to the end of our visit to Betty's Bay. It's time to say goodbye to the African oyster catchers, the seagulls, the penguins, and the beautiful scenery here. And on our way to Hermanus, we'd be stopping at Harold Porter Botanical Garden. So come along for our next episode to see what we're going to find in the garden and in Hermanus. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you.